Welcome to a new video review here at our YouTube channel, and today I'm going to talk about the new Vortex Strike Eagle 5 to 25 by 56 first focal plane rifle scope. This is the newest model in the Strike Eagle series, 34mm tube, 5 to 25 times magnification and 56mm objective lens. This definitely sounds familiar because you know that one of the most legendary tactical scopes in this category is 5 to 25 Schmidt & Bender PM2. But in the last 10 years, many competitors came into this segment, and in the last 3 years we are seeing that you are able to buy a similar scope in the philosophy how it's built. So the first focal plane, mil reticle, mil clicks, with all the possible features, and they're getting cheaper and cheaper. So you probably know, if you are interested in these types of products, that in the last year or maybe year and a half, there were a couple of competitors who already started to produce very similar scopes, 34mm tube with a lot of tactical features for below 1,000 euros. And now Vortex joined the gang, we can say it this way. But as expected from Vortex, they came out with this scope, which I presume is going to be a benchmark in many aspects to the whole class of FFP mil scopes below 1,000 euros. If I start, I'm sure you know about the Vortex. They are one of the biggest, or if not even the biggest, optical company in the US. Definitely the company that changed the whole market and shown the biggest growth among all, because I think 16 years, 17 years ago they were selling binoculars and they were really a small company. Now they're equally big or bigger than Leupold and other big names. And if I talk a little bit more about the Strike Eagle series, it's really funny because at the moment they have, to be exact, 5 models in this series, even though 2 are more or less discontinued. So they have 1 to 6 model, which started the series, and it was really a huge success. Probably the best-selling rifle scope in our store. Yeah, it's a really affordable, wide-angle, low-powered rifle scopes for dynamic shooters. Then they came out with 1 to 8, very similar scope to 1 to 6. Then I think 2 years ago they came out with 3 to 18 by 44 and 4 to 20 by 50 second focal plane tactical scopes, Strike Eagles, and now this time with the 5 to 25 by 56. So the scopes in this series don't share much in common, because let's be honest, 1 to 6 model doesn't share many features with this 5 to 25. But on the other side, I have a feeling that every time Vortex does something that they think that it will sell really well in huge numbers, they just put a Strike Eagle name on it. And I'm convinced that this particular scope will be a similar success than 1 to 6 was in its category. I will talk more about its feature and why I believe this is going to be a hugely successful model in the following. So, first of all, it's priced around 800 euros, and for the features it has, it's almost unbeatable in this price class. It's even cheaper than Athlon, cheaper than similar primary arms, cheaper than sight marks and all similar scopes. On the other side, it does have quite a few competitive advantages. It's made out of single piece, 34mm main tube, 37 centimeters in length. It's shorter than the Viper PST, and it's quite light, 860 grams only. So when you take it in your hand for the first time, you're shocked how light it is, even though it's really robust. Everything is made out of metal. The fast focus is made out of metal. The magnification ring, which is really smooth and nice, it's made fully out of metal. And normally you immediately see all the design features that even if the Vortex logo would be hidden, you would still know this is a Vortex scope. It's filled with nitrogen. It can withstand any kind of recoil, and the parallax goes all the way down to 15 yards, so 13 meters approximately. Honestly speaking, all of the modern scopes have parallax adjustments all the way down to 10 meters or 15 meters. Maybe this is because a lot of people use them also on airgun rifles and similar, where they need close focus parallax. The reticle is illuminated with 11 settings. On the side focus you have one additional knob for the illumination. In the box you're getting the bikini style covers, really nice soft rubber, so they're not out of plastic anymore. I like this trend. You get a product manual where everything is shown, and what is also interesting is that the whole how to set the zero stop is also explained in this. Here you can find it in this tutorial. So for the setting of zero stop you need this additional ring, and then this is they call it completely new, how it's called, the ref stop or something like that. So a new zero stop developed especially for this scope. You're also getting a throw lever, really nice one, even though it's I think out of plastic, or it's aluminum. I think it's plastic. Okay, you get an additional throw lever, nice touch. And you get a reticle manual. This is something that also every Vortex scope comes with. And the reticle is the EBR7C emerald reticle, which can be found also in Razors and Vipers and all other scopes. So very usable reticle and really nicely designed reticle. So this is, I like the fact that Vortex designed a reticle which works, which people like, and then they just put this one single reticle in all of their scopes. The reticle is always matched with the clicks. So here we have mil version. The same reticle can also be an MOA version if you have MOA clicks, even though honestly speaking, at least here in Europe, there is no sense in buying an MOA scope. I do believe that in the US a lot of people is used to MOAs, and so they buy it from this reason. The illumination is powered by a normal CR2032 battery. You get a cleaning cloth with your scope, and you get a sunshade with your scope. It also comes with a VIP warranty, so no matter what happens, you're covered. In the EU, the warranty has to be defined in years, so we usually say, okay, 10 years or more. I am sure that no matter what happens, Vortex will take care of you. I also think that they are above everybody else in terms of warranty. By far the best warranty conditions you can find in this brand. If I go further, so the reticle, like I mentioned, first focal plane, you are able to choose two reticles depending on the clicks, MOA version and mil version. This one comes with a mil version. It's a normal Christmas tree reticle. The illumination, 11 settings. The most powerful setting is also you're able to use it in daytime, even though with a scope like this you won't be needing it, but the low power intensity levels are really great for dusk and dawn, and the entire reticle is illuminated, so it's more for tactical use than for hunting. The turrets, here it becomes really interesting locking mechanism. This is something that neither PST Gen 2 or Diamondback Tactical have. So even though this scope comes between the Diamondback Tactical, which costs roughly 500 euros, and on the other side the Viper PST Gen 2, which costs roughly 1,200 euros, it features locking turrets, which none of them do. The turrets have around 30-31 mils of elevation, zero stop, like I said, with this ring which you need to insert to get the zero stop, 1 centimeter clicks, and multi-turn. As you are able to see, if I go the full revolution, there is no turn indicator anywhere. I will come back to this at the end where I do the summary of all my thoughts about this scope. What needs to be said is that the clicks are really crisp, really nice, much better than expected. Honestly speaking, there are scopes that cost 30-40% more, and the clicks are not equally nice than on this one. The windage, also lockable turrets, the clicks are different. This is really interesting. They're still crisp and nice, but less audible and different. The feeling is different than on the elevation. You get a little bit more than 20 mils of windage adjustment. Zero stop, multi-turn, resettable normally. Okay, so if I come to the optics, like I mentioned at the start, 5 times magnification at the low end, 25 times magnification at the top end. What is really nice is that the field of view is great, 8 meters on 100 meters, and even when you look through it, you're able to see how good the field of view is. Also, the apparent field of view is great. It's much better than expected. And the eye box, I have to be honest, I was also pleasantly surprised by the eye box. The rifle scope is not at least sensitive to the eye position when you're looking through it. Really, really nice, better than expected, and definitely better than majority of the competition in this below 1,000 euro price class. There is absolutely no tunnel effect, and I would say that the light transmission rate is also decent, even though I have to be honest, we didn't do some extensive tests in dusk and dawn. It has the fast focus, and I would say, optically speaking, it's above average. So, like with every review I do, at the end I come to a summary where I go through all the thoughts, and I usually say sweet and sour of every product that I review. And let's start with the positives with this one, and then I will go through the parts where there is still room for improvement. So first of all, let's say around 800 euros, it's impossible to beat the Vortex VIP warranty. This is something that no other producer is able to match. And with this particular model, what I also think it's really great for 800 euros are all the features. So 34mm tube with a 31 mils of elevation range. I do have to mention that the new system for the zero stop takes away really a lot of elevation, because if you use this ring, only 18 mils of elevation is available. Still, 800 euros. The optical quality is really, really good, especially field of view and eye box. The field of view is phenomenal for this price range. I also like the reticle. The reticle normally was developed for much more expensive scopes, but I like the fact that Vortex uses the same reticle in all their products. I also like the weight, because it's even lighter than the Vortex Viper PST. The price point, 800 euros, I think with all the features and the quality, this rifle scope could have been even more expensive and it would still sell. Okay, I have to say a word or two comparison of this rifle scope with a Viper Gen 2. I think many people will assume that because you're getting all the features, and because when you look on the paper this one even has a wider field of view than the Viper, that there is no need of buying a Viper scope, even though the Viper even has a 30mm central tube and less elevation. However, when you look through the optics, I still believe that Viper Gen 2 is probably optically the best scope you can buy below 2,000 euros. So honestly speaking, this scope cannot be compared optically with the Viper Gen 2. When you look through it, it's just the Viper is so much better. But the Viper is also so much better than anything else. Anything below, let's say 1,500 euros or something like that, it fades in comparison with the Viper Gen 2. Normally this is no different, and those 400 euros of difference in price, you definitely get a better optics in a Viper Gen 2. If you compare it with Strike Eagle, with Diamondback FFP, that's a completely different scope. It's light, it's 4x zoom, 30mm tube, no illumination. It's for a different purpose, and it's also much cheaper. It's almost half the price of this one. So again, I think that Vortex did a good decision to place this scope between the Viper Gen 2 and the Diamondback Tactical. I also think that this scope will get a different audience than the Viper Gen 2. Okay, now what could have been done better? I didn't spoke much about, I would say, the main minus of this scope, and this is that when you wish to use the zero stop function, you have to put this in the turret. You put the turret apart and then put this in, and then you get zero stop, but you only have 18 mils of elevation. Honestly speaking, this is more than enough for any application. But normally, when you see that you're having, without the zero stop, 31 mils of elevation, and then you only get 18, you're a bit disappointed. But honestly speaking, 18 is more than enough. You can shoot on 1000 meters or even further. But if you want to shoot on 2000 meters, then you should buy the Razor HD, not the Strike Eagle. That's logical. You have to invest more. So this is a short minus, I would say. Another minus, or what could have been done better, is that especially when you're on high magnifications, the optical performance is not that great as you would expect, because everything else is like you're buying a scope for 2,000 euros. It has all the features and everything, but when you put it on, let's say, 25 times magnification and look through it, then you see why it's 400 euros cheaper than the Viper Gen 2. So it has quite a lot of chromatic aberration, but still, when you compare it with similar scopes from other manufacturers, it's still better than those. But normally, when you compare it with Viper Gen 2 or others, the CA, or chromatic aberration, is immediately noticeable. I also think what could have been done better is that the turrets, which are great, should have, at least with lines below them, a simple turn indicator. Because on a scope like this, you will shoot on 1000 meters, and it is nice if you're able to orientate yourself in which turn you're located at the moment. Apart from that, all in all, I would say a really great product for its price. If you know what to expect, if you're not expecting the Razor HD quality from a 800 euros scope, even though it has most of the features on paper, it looks really similar to, let's say, Razor HD. But if your expectations are normal, you're getting probably the best bang for your buck. You're really getting top-notch product for top-notch price. I also think that majority of tactical shooters, especially novice tactical shooters, this will be an overkill. With all the features and everything, you're really getting more than you need, and you're getting a scope which is of higher quality than you would expect. You get more than what you paid for. So my last sentence would be that I expect that this scope will sell equally well as 1 to 6 model did, the first Strike Eagle. And I'm sure that there will be tons and tons of them sold. Thank you for watching. If you need any additional information, please check our webpage, and if still there is some information missing, please send us an email. We like to chat. Bye.